Thank you very much. I'm sorry I couldn't be here for the entire hearing. I'm pleased I could be here for part of it, and I do want to ask a question that I think is probably more relevant to my colleagues than to me. I may be the only of my colleagues who doesn't have to get on an airplane every week. I just go 9 blocks to Capitol Hill where I live. But I read recently something that troubled me a great deal. There were incidents where the planes came down safely. I was pleased to hear that. But passengers had to evacuate the airline. Now, under the existing regulations, you're supposed to evacuate aircraft within 90 seconds. That's a very short period of time after a plane goes down. But what these incidents reported, or what the press reported, was that as people were trying to get out of the airline, they were grabbing their carry-on baggages and obviously thereby slowing up evacuation. Now, that can be a life and death matter. You got your baggage, but you don't survive. Our authorization does ask the FAA, of course, you haven't had time to fully assess, but it asks the FAA to assess and report to Congress on whether the assumptions and methods certifying compliance with evacuation requirements should be revised. Mr. Elwell, I'm bringing that up because already it seems to me that some revision should occur, and understand that the FAA has initiated a rulemaking committee to address this issue. I would be very interested, given the recent events, to know the status of that mandate you apparently are working on now.
Thank you, Ms. Norton, for that question. We have created a emergency aviation rulemaking committee, ARC, and its first meeting is in a matter of weeks, I believe, and we're gonna use the ARC, which, of course, as you know, is a gathering of stakeholders and industry experts for their comment and their advice on how to go forward. We have been having an active conversation with this committee and with our stakeholders. I can't remember if you were here when we talked about ground evacuation live tests. We have 12 days of testing that is scheduled for November. I believe it starts November 3rd or 5th through December. We're going to have 12 days. We have 720 folks that are going to participate. We're going to gather over 3,000 data points. To your point, it's to, I agree, and agree with Chairman DeFazio, it's a priority of his as well, that we need to look at evacuation and make sure that, that we have all the right assumptions, and to ensure that in these instances, folks can get out of airplanes in emergencies.
Well, I wasn't here and didn't hear that. Essentially, this is going to be testing these assumptions with people getting on and off airplanes. Mm-hmm. Because my last question was going to be, where did 90 seconds come from? One of the things I'll be interested in is whether or not anybody tested to see whether it's realistic to believe that people with a full airplane can get off in 90 seconds, and if that was just pulled out of the air or if it was based on testing.
I can get back to you on the assumptions of the original assumptions of the 90 seconds. Of course, the assumptions of getting off an airplane have to do with flammability, survivability, cabin filling with smoke or not, and every incident is different, of course. 90 seconds could be more than enough in some instances, or nowhere near enough, or the accident or the incident could be such that they have all the time in the world, and other times it's just a matter of seconds. So it's very complex, which is why we've formed the ARC, which is why we have asked industry experts to give us advice on and what we need to be looking at. We want to look at the right things, and we want to do it expeditiously, but we want to make sure we're answering the right questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank